Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Thank you, Ritesh Prabhu, Pawan Prabhuji, Vishwanath Prabhu, for leading the chanting. Started Mangalacharan. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminati Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyati Deshutarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktaranda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. Okay, it's a very auspicious day today, and actually last the set of 3 days. Yesterday was Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's appearance. Today is Srila Haridas Thakur's disappearance, and tomorrow is going to be the day when Srila Prabhupada took sannyas. So 3 consecutive days, very back to back, very auspicious. A lot of devotees are trying to chant 192 rounds today for Srila Haridas Thakur's disappearance. He's our Namacharya. So Namacharya, he used to chant 192 rounds every single day. And he used to chant them in 3 sets of 64, 64, 64. So one set used to be Vachik, where he'll chant loudly. Another set would be Upanshu, where he'll chant softly. And the last set would be Manasik. So like that, 3 sets of 64 becomes 192. And these 3 glorious days of 3 Acharyas, B for Bhaktivinod, H for Haridas Thakur, and P for Prabhupada. So if we follow them, we can go back home with Prabhupada to our Prabhu, BHP. Haribol. So may all of us follow in their footsteps. Bhakti Vinod Thakur, he gave us so many wonderful prayers. Like we sing Gaur Arti, we sing Sharanagati prayers. So many wonderful prayers given by Bhakti Vinod Thakur, who is our kind of spiritual grandfather, because he is the father of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And then, of course, Haridas Thakur, like we said, is Namacharya. He gave us the process and the potency of chanting the Mahamantra. He showed us how much nectar is there in Mahamantra, that you could chant all day long. Even 24 hours seems to be less. So 192 rounds would almost take him the whole day. He would hardly have any time to do any other things. But then at the end, again, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was there. He engaged him in the service of chanting and dancing and Sankirtan in Rath Yatra also. So when you chant so much that, oh Lord, please engage me in your service, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu engaged him in his further service. And then, of course, our dear Srila Prabhupada and even Bhakti Siddhanta Goswami Prabhupada, both of them have shown us this process of how to follow the process of bhakti with purity, with sincerity, with determination. So when we follow them, we can go back home with Prabhupada to our Prabhu, Sri Krishna, Sri Radha. Okay, let's continue to sing this prayer so that we can follow the mood of Bhakti Vinod Thakur, who gave us these prayers. And then we already chanted in the mood of bhakti, in the mood of Srila Haridas Thakur. And then we'll read Prabhupada Lilamrit to follow in the footsteps of Srila Prabhupada. So perfect. We are doing all the 3 things that we desire for. Okay. So we'll sing this prayer by Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Maharaj, Shri Krishna Chandrashtakam. Ambudhanjanendra Neela Nindikanti Dambara Kumkumodyad Arka Vidyud Amshu Divyadambara Srimad Anga Charchitendu Pita Nakta Chandana Swangridasya Dostu Mesa Ballavendra Nandana Ganda Tandavati Panditandajisha Kundalash Chandra Padma Shanda Garva Khandanasya Mandala Pallavishu Varditatma Gudha Bhava Bandana Swangridasya Dostu Mesa Ballavendra Nandana नित्य नव्य रूप वेश हर्द केली चेष्टिता केली नर्म सार्मधायि मित्र वृंद वेष्टिता स्वीय केली काननांशु निर्जितेन्द्र नंदन स्वांग्रिलास्य दोस्तु मे सबल्लवेन्द्र नंदन प्रेम हेम मंडितात्म बंधुताभिनंदित क्षौणिलग्न भाललोक पालपालि वंदित नित्यकाल सृष्ट विप्र गौरवालि वंदना स्वांग्रिदास्य दोस्तु मे स पल्लवेन्द्र नंदन लीलयेन्द्र कालियोष्ण कंसवत्सघातकस्तत्तदात्मकेलिवृष्टिपुष्टभक्तचातक वीर्यशीललीलयात्मघोषवासि नन्दन स्वाङ्घ्रिदास्य दोस्तु मे स वल्लवेन्द्र नन्दन कुञ्जरासकेलिसीदुरादिकादितोषण तत्तदात्मकेलि नर्म तत्तदालिपोषण प्रेमशीलकेलिकीर्ति विश्वचित्तनन्दन स्वाङ्घ्रिदास्य दोस्तु मे स पल्लवेन्द्र नन्दन रासकेलिदर्शितात्म शुद्ध भक्ति सत्पट स्वीय चित्ररूपवेश मन्मथालि मन्मथ गोपिकाशु नेत्रकोणभाववृन्दगन्दन स्वाङ्घ्रिदास्य दोस्तु मे स पल्लवेन्द्र नन्दन पुष्पचायिरादिकाभिमर्शलब्धिदर्शित प्रेमवाम्य राम्य राधि कास्य दृष्टिहर्षित राधिकोरसीहलेप एष हरिचन्दन स्वाङ्घ्रिदास्य दोस्तु मे स पल्लवेन्द्र नन्दन अष्टकेन यस्त्वनेन राधिकासु वल्लभं संस्तवीति दर्शनेऽपि सिन्धुजातिदुर्लभम् तं युनक्ति तुष्टचित्त एष घोषकानने राधिकाङ्गसङ्गनन्दितात्मपादसेवने स्वाङ्घ्रिदास्य दोस्तु मे स वल्लवेन्द्र नन्दन स्वाङ्घ्रिदास्य दोस्तु मे स पल्लवेन्द्र नन्दन हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा श्री कृष्ण चंद्राष्टकम की जय श्री कृष्णदास कविराज गोस्वामी महाराज की जय श्री प्रभुपाद की जय Anybody would like to read the translation?
I can read, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji, please go ahead.
His abundantly beautiful complexion belittles the splendor of combined rain clouds, black-eye cosmetics, and sapphires. His garments appear effulgent, like a rising sun tinted like kumkum, vermilion powder, enhanced by shining bolts of lightning. His perfectly formed limbs are anointed with sandalwood paste mixed with camphor and saffron. May Sri Krishna, the son of the king of the cowherd men, grant me the service of his own lotus feet. He wears shark-shaped earrings that dance very expertly upon his cheeks. The beauty of the orb of his face destroys the pride of the multitude of moons and lotus flowers. He causes the knot of his own secret ecstatic love moods to increasingly tighten amongst the gopis. May Sri Krishna, the son of the king of the cowherd men, grant me the service of his own lotus feet. He is eternally engaged in designing ever fresh variations of his youthful form, mode of dress, and loving pastimes. He is surrounded by the assembly of his cowherd boyfriends who excel in giving him delight by their playful, joking words. Even a single brilliant ray of splendor from his personal pleasure forest defeats the heavenly Nandana gardens of Lord Indra. May Sri Krishna, the son of king of cowherd men, grant me the service of his own lotus feet. He is delighted by the friendship of his devotees, whose conscious hearts are decorated with golden ornaments of pure love for him. He is praised by great demigods who protect various planets in the universe and offer who obeisance to him by touching their foreheads to the ground. He honors the Brahmanas with great reverence at specific times of the day. May Sri Krishna, the son of the king of the cowherd men, grant me the service of his own lotus feet. He easily removed the pride of Indra as well as the violent anger of Kaliya, and he killed the demons like Kamsa and Vatasura. With the rainfall of these variegated pastimes, he nourishes the Chataka birds who are his devotees. But performing his pastimes of heroic nature, he delights the residents of his own cowherd community. May Sri Krishna, the son of the king of the cowherd men, grant me the service of his own lotus feet. He satisfies Sri Radhika and the other gopis with the nectar of the supportive rasa dance performed in the groves of Vrindavan. During the various intrigues of those amorous pastimes, he devises many playful jokes to sustain the assembly of gopis. He thus delights the minds of all people in the universe by the glory of his loving pastimes. May Sri Krishna, the son of the king of the cowherd men, grant me the service of his own lotus feet. By revealing his pastimes of festive rasa dance, he also shows the eternal path of his pure devotional service. By his amazing beauty and fascinating modes of dress, he charms the minds of the vast multitude of Cupid. Through the outer corners of his eyes, he casts sidelong glances aimed at the gopis that give hints of the host of affectionate, ecstatic moods. May Shri Krishna, the son of the king of the cowherd men, grant me the service of his own lotus feet. He becomes excited with desire by suddenly touching Sri Radhika while she is busy picking flowers. He then becomes jubilant when he sees her charming face decorated with the contourings of pure love. Verily, he is the sandalwood paste and that decorates Radhika's breast. May Sri Krishna, the son of the king of the cowherd men, grant me the service of his own lotus feet. It is very difficult for Lakshmi Devi and other exalted gods and goddesses to attain even a glimpse of Sri Krishna, who is very dear to Sri Radhika. But if someone glorifies him by reciting these 8 verses with full attention, then he who is delighted by the intimate of association with Radhika's limbs will become pleased with that person and engage them in the serve of his own lotus feet within the cowherd forest of Goloka Vrindavan. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
You, Minu Mataji, Hare Krishna, Shri Shuka Stava, Shuka Sari Stava. The two wonderful parrots ki jai. Minu Mataji ki jai. Okay, so yes, the Lord will give us service of his own lotus feet in his dham, in his land, the land of Raja, the land of Vrindavan. So we'll continue Prabhupada Lilamrit, Prabhupada Lilamrit reading chapter 37, where it is also titled, The Land is Yours. So if you perform bhakti, then the land of Vrindavan is yours. Hari Bol. Okay, so yes, Prabhupada is continuing to now manage ISKCON's operations in India. Like we were reading yesterday, Prabhupada is trying to combine the culture of East with the prosperity of West, right? And he's just like Vamandev. We were saying Vamandev covered 3 steps. Prabhupada is trying to cover 3 steps, the major centers of Bombay, Vrindavan, and Mayapur. He has asked his disciples, Tamal Krishna Maharaj and Bali Madan Prabhu, to go and get a piece of land in Mayapur, close to the birth site of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So they have gone, and Prabhupada has blessed them. And Prabhupada is talking about the significance of Mayapur, because there are so many of disciples of Bhaktisiddhanta, his Guru Maharaj, who have place in Mayapur. And that was desire of Prabhupada, that his disciples, before he leaves this mortal world, he wants to have a place for his disciples so that they can nicely stay there, perform bhakti, and take association of the holy dham. So we'll see what happens next. We'll continue from here. Since birth, Prabhupada had been aware of the significance of Lord Chaitanya and his dham, Sri Mayapur. He had grown up in Calcutta, where everyone knew of Lord Chaitanya, and because his father, God Mohan Dey, had been a pure devotee of Lord Chaitanya, from childhood he had sung the Bengali songs of Gaura Nitai and their pastimes in the land of Gauda. He had imbibed deeply the teachings and pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, especially after meeting his spiritual master in Calcutta in 1922. Lord Chaitanya had spent his first 24 years in Mayapur and Navadvip. Yet, since his manifest pastimes there almost 500 years ago, the places of those pastimes had been obscured, the Lord's birthsite lost, and his teachings confused and misused. Despite the disciplic line of pure devotees from Lord Chaitanya, not until the advent of Bhakti Vinod Thakur Jai, the father of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, did Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan movement and pure teachings begin to emerge. Bhaktivinoda Thakur published many books and preached to re-establish the intellectual, moral, and spiritual integrity of Chaitanya Vaishnavism. He researched and explored the land of Navadvip, ascertaining the exact birth site of the Lord. Citing Vedic evidence, he established that many previous incarnations of Vishnu had enacted pastimes in Navadvip. Not only did Bhaktivinoda Thakur document Navadvip's past glory, but he also foresaw its glorious future when a religion based on the teachings of Lord Chaitanya would emerge and spread throughout the world, and when European and American Vaishnavas would throng to Navadvip to join their Bengali brothers in chanting Jai Sachinandana. The time would come, Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote, when in the land of Navadvip, on the plain of the Ganges, a magnificent temple would arise, proclaiming to the world the glories of Lord Chaitanya. Jai Sachinandana means all glories to Lord Chaitanya, the son of Shachi. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, carrying out the desires of his father and preceptor Bhaktivinoda Thakur, had formed the Gaudiya Math for propagating the teachings of Lord Chaitanya and the glories of Navadvip Dham. He had induced a wealthy disciple to spend his fortune for erecting a temple at Lord Chaitanya's birth site in Mayapur, and he had constructed a Kirtana hall commemorating the place of Lord Chaitanya's Kirtanas. He had also constructed his own residence in Mayapur. He had built temples throughout India, 64 in all. But because he wanted the English speaking world especially to take to Lord Chaitanya's movement, he had emphasized as first priority the publishing and distributing of Krishna conscious literature. Srila Prabhupada, sitting in his room in the Calcutta temple, shared the great vision of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati and Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur. Yet, to enact this great vision, he had to take practical steps, and he was content to take them in the most humble way. A devotee should not simply daydream, expecting Krishna to accomplish everything with miracles. Prabhupada, however, was not dreaming idly. Working for years alone in India, he had held his plan of going to the West, and Krishna had at last fulfilled that desire. In America, in whatever circumstances, and with whatever small facility Krishna had provided, he had preached. And slowly, step by step, he had met with success, realizing his vision of a worldwide society of devotees. Always he had kept his greater vision in mind, as every step forward had given him deeper satisfaction and had brought him closer to fulfilling his mission. Prabhupada sometimes told the story of a poor potter who dreamed of expanding his business and becoming fabulously rich. As the potter slept one night, he dreamed of how much land and how many houses he would have, and how he would have a beautiful wife. When the potter considered that perhaps the wife would quarrel with him, he became angry and said, "If my wife fights with me, I will kick her." And kicking, he broke the only two pots in his stock and was reduced to nothing. Whether chanting or writing, or reading or preaching, Prabhupada had been absorbed in his plans for spreading Krishna consciousness and fulfilling the dream of the past acharyas. Now he was anxious to complete the next step, and for this he was waiting up past midnight, meditating on his two disciples and their important mission. As Prabhupada sat, wrapped in thought, the only sounds were the usual sounds of the night: mice within the walls, a brahmachari snoring on the veranda, and in the distance the night watchman making his rounds, his stick striking the street. There were no cars, and only an occasional wooden rickshaw clattered along the potholed street. Prabhupada wondered if perhaps his boys had been robbed. Before sending them off, he had shown Tamal Krishna how to carry money around his waist in a makeshift cloth money belt. But it had been a great deal of money, and robberies were not uncommon around Navadvip. Or perhaps there had been some other delay. Sometimes in land negotiations involving large sums of money, the court would require that a clerk record the denomination and serial number of every note exchanged. Or perhaps the train had broken down. Suddenly, Prabhupada heard footsteps on the stairs. Someone opened the outer door and now walked along the veranda just outside. A soft knock. "Yes, who is it?" Prabhupada asked. Tamal Krishna entered and prostrated himself before Srila Prabhupada. "So," Prabhupada asked, "what is your news?" Tamal Krishna looked up triumphantly. "The land is yours." Prabhupada leaned back with a sigh. "All right," he said, "now you can take rest." London, August 1971. Prabhupada had asked the Indian High Commissioner for the United Kingdom to petition Prime Minister Indira Gandhi to attend ISKCON's upcoming cornerstone laying ceremony in Mayapur. Already, Prabhupada had instructed all his GBC secretaries to attend the ceremony, and he had asked the devotees to invite many prominent citizens of Calcutta. Writing to his disciples in India, He said that if they could not get Indira Gandhi to come, they should at least get the governor of Bengal, Sri S.S. Dhawan. Meanwhile, Prabhupada was meeting in London with several of his disciples, experienced in architecture and design. He wanted them to draft plans for his Mayapur project. Naranarayan had built Rathyatra carts and designed temple interiors. Ranchor had studied architecture, and Bhavananda had been a professional designer, but Prabhupada himself conceived the plans for the Mayapur buildings. He then told his three-man committee to provide sketches and an architect's model. He would intelligently begin raising funds and securing support in India for the project. To the devotees who heard Prabhupada's plans, this seemed the most ambitious ISKCON project ever. While taking his morning walks in Russell Square, Prabhupada would point to various buildings and ask how high they were. Finally, he announced one morning that the main temple in Mayapur should be more than 300 feet high. Mayapur's monsoon floods and sandy soil would create unique difficulties, he said, and the building would have to be built on a special foundation, a sort of floating raft. A civil engineer later confirmed this. The first building, Prabhupada said, should be a large guest house, 4 stories high, and its design, although not strictly conforming to any one school of architecture, resembled most that of Rajasthan. He wanted a pink and rust colored building with many arches and a wide marble veranda on each floor, except the ground floor. The building should run east to west so that the sun would pass lengthwise over it and not shine directly into the building's broad front. Southern breezes would cool the guest house in summer. The building should be equipped with electric fans and lights, modern toilets and showers, and the rooms should be furnished, spacious, and well ventilated. This guest house should be built as soon as possible, Prabhupada said. Then other buildings would follow. He wanted residential buildings for 500 devotees, a large prasadam hall seating several thousand, a kitchen complex, and a goshala, shelter for the cows that would pasture in nearby fields. In time, ISKCON would acquire adjoining land and develop parks with flower gardens, trees and shrubs, fountains, walkways, and arbors. The main building, the colossal Mayapur Chandrodaya Mandir, was to be no less than 300 feet high and costing perhaps tens of millions of dollars. Prabhupada's description astounded the architects as well as the devotees. It sounded grander than the United States Capitol or St. Peter's Cathedral. The temple's central dome would house a three-dimensional model of the universe. The design, however, would be based on the Vedic description and would depict not only the material universe but also the spiritual universe. Entering the main hall, a person would look up and see the planets situated just as Srimad Bhagavatam describes, beginning with the hellish planets, then the middle planets, wherein the earth is situated, then the heavenly planets of the demigods, and then Brahmaloka, the highest planet in the material world. Above Brahmaloka, the observer would see the abode of Lord Shiva, and above that, the spiritual sky or Brahmajyoti. Within the spiritual effulgence of the Brahmajyoti would be the self-illuminating Vaikuntha planets, inhabited by eternally liberated souls, and highest of all would be the supreme planet of Krishna Loka, where God, in his original eternal form, enjoys his pastimes with his most confidential devotees. The temple would also house a miniature palace in which the deities of Sri Radha and Krishna would reside, surrounded by silks and pillars of silver, gold, and jewels. The Mayapur Chandrodaya Mandir and the Mayapur city would be ISKCON's world headquarters. And why such a fabulous architectural wonder as this in such an obscure part of the world? The answer, Prabhupada explained, was that Mayapur was actually not obscure. It seemed so only from the mundane perspective. To mundane vision, that which was central seemed remote. The soul and the next life seemed remote, while the body and immediate sense gratification seemed central. By establishing the temple of human understanding in Mayapur, Srila Prabhupada would be directing the materialistic world's attention back to the true center. Any sincere visitor would be charmed by the beauty of ISKCON's Mayapur project and would perceive that here indeed was the spiritual world. And the devotees living in Mayapur, by remaining constantly immersed in singing Hare Krishna Kirtan and discussing the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, would be able to convince any intelligent visitor that the teachings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu were the highest truth. The devotees would explain the philosophy of the absolute truth, which would enable visitors to comprehend actual spiritual truth beyond sectarian religious dogma. Furthermore, the continuous Hare Krishna Kirtan and the blissful devotees engaged in a wide variety of services to Lord Krishna would demonstrate that Bhakti Yoga was the simplest, most direct process for meditating on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. While staying in ISKCON's Mayapur city, a person would quickly become a devotee of the Lord and begin chanting and dancing in ecstasy. Srila Prabhupada was demonstrating how the world could be spiritualized by linking material things with with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, through Bhakti Yoga. And why shouldn't such spiritual feats surpass the achievements of the materialists? Prabhupada was sorry to learn through the Indian High Commissioner that the Prime Minister could not attend the cornerstone laying ceremony in Mayapur. Yet he took it as Krishna's desire. He said he would invite a prominent Vaishnava to officiate, or he might do it himself. On the whole, he wrote, it was Lord Chaitanya's desire that a Vaishnava shall lay down the cornerstone instead of asking some material man or woman to perform the holy work. The monsoons came, and the Ganges spilled over her banks, flooding the entire ISKCON Mayapur property. Achyutananda Swami had built a straw and bamboo hut where Prabhupada was soon to stay, but the waters rose until Achyutananda Swami had to live in the bamboo rafters. He wrote to Prabhupada that had it not been for Bhakti Siddhanta Road, the damage would have been extensive. Prabhupada replied, the elevated road that runs before ISKCON's property and the birthplace of Lord Chaitanya, serving as a dike against the Ganges. Yes, we were saved by Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Road. We shall always expect to be saved by His Divine Grace. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Always pray to His lotus feet. Whatever success we have had in preaching Lord Chaitanya's mission all over the world is only due to His mercy. Hare Krishna. Okay, we'll pause here. Yes, wonderful. So the land is yours. The land is ISKCON's now in Sridham Mayapur by the mercy of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, Swami Prabhupada, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Srila Haridas Thakur, all the predecessor acharyas who have blessed Srila Prabhupada that he may continue to propagate and preach the mission of Krishna consciousness, of pure bhakti in this holy dham of the birthplace of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Like Prabhupada is saying, yeah, if materialists can have such high buildings or such lavish structures, then we have to show what the quality and quantity of spiritual world is. So he had this magnanimous vision of the spiritual world, and he wanted to lay out that here in this world. So all glories to him that that vision is now finally coming to fruition after this year we are celebrating 60th year of Prabhupada's arrival in America. And yeah, this the Temple of Vedic Planetarium, like we were saying in Mayapur, is also coming up very soon by the collaborative efforts of all of Prabhupada's disciples, sincere disciples, headed by His Grace Ambarish Prabhu, who is also known as Alfred Ford in the material world. He's, I think, the great grandson of Henry Ford, the founder of Ford Motors, who was helping build this wonderful temple in Mayapur after this land was procured in 1971. So, yeah, Shri Radha Madhav, the Ashtasakhis, Panchatattvas who are there, Shri Narsimha. So they will have a wonderful temple, and yes, the devotees can go and take darshan of all the worlds, like Prabhupada explains here from Srimad Bhagavatam. Just like we were talking about Vamandev, celebrating Vamandev appearance a couple of days ago. With his 3 foot, he covered the 3 worlds. First step, he covered the whole earth. Second step, he covered the whole heaven. And third step, Bali Maharaj offered his own head that Vamandev can put his holy feet on. And Vamandev sent him to the nether world, to the Patal Lok. So he covered the 3 steps. So Prabhupada is describing like that. The 3 worlds, the material world, then the Brahmajyoti and the spiritual abode of the Lord. Everything will be described or will be presented in Temple of Vedic Planetarium. So like that, today we also are celebrating wonderful festival at our center. We have 3 deities. So like the 3 steps of Vamandev, the 3 worlds, we have 3 deities that we usually have in our altar. We have Shri Nitai Gaur Nitai. We have Shri Jagannath Baldev Subhadra and Shri Laddu Gopal. All 3 are coming to our center, to our center. We also have three centers. Haribol. So Prabhupada says we have to make spiritual world the center, right? Not the material, not the materialistic propensities, but make the spiritual bhakti yoga as a center of the universe. So like that, we have three centers, and we are being blessed by three deities. So all glories, all glories, all glories to all the wonderful devotees who are going to welcome them into their homes and into their hearts today. We'll have wonderful Kirtan, Abhishek, and wonderful program. So looking forward to that. I will unfortunately miss that event today because I'm going to go to Louisville, and we'll be celebrating in our three centers, the three deities. You know, with the mercy of our acharyas, I'll be celebrating Radha Ashtami for the third time today, after Cincinnati, New Vrindavan, and now in Louisville. Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. Okay, anything anybody else would like to share from today's reading? Yes, Mataji's, Prabhuji's, anything? Meenu Mataji, Pawan Prabhu, Ritesh Prabhu, Deepa Mataji, Hare Krishna, welcome.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Just keep getting inspired by all these stories that we are reading, and uh, it's amazing how real they are. I mean, they're real people, real stories, so much devotion and dedication. So it's just really amazing. That's all. I just keep getting awestruck by reading all that. So thank you, Prabhuji.
We have to be awestruck. Thank you for taking it to your heart. And yes, we have to cherish and we have to relish these pastimes of Srila Prabhupada so that we can develop that taste for bhakti in terms of what he did and what he inspired his disciples to do and what they did by following his instructions is amazing. So if we are able to be inspired by this, then yes, then we'll be able to take a drop of their inspiration and do something with our own lives and give back to this moment. Yes, thank you. Anybody else would like to say anything? Pawan Prabhu, Ritesh Prabhu, Deepa Mataji.
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
Go ahead, Prabhu. Pawan Prabhuji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Everything is good. You are doing excellent narrating them.
All glories to
Prabhupada
Srila
Leela,
Prabhupada. All glories to
so
Srila Prabhupada.
mesmerizing.
Thank you, Prabhuji. All glories to our acharyas. Hare Krishna. Yes, Ritesh Prabhu, you were saying something?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you for reading. Uh, the more we read about it and the more we get to know, the only thing I can understand or only thing I can take is like the determination, the devotion of Prabhupada and the will and the blessings of Lord Krishna is all commendable. It's not a it's not a thing that a simple common man can do. It needs a lot of blessings from the Lord. It's Krishna itself that he was able to carry out in spite of having all such troubles or troubles according to a common man like me, but with whatever the obstacles that he was were on the path, and he was doing it in such a smooth way that we common men can't even imagine that. So as again servant of the Lord, uh, it is really commendable. It reading all these books about the Rupaji's is really something that we can enrich our life on daily basis. So thank you, Prabhuji, for taking time, and thank you everyone for being a part of this ESCON consciousness. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Thank you for also being part of it consistently. Hare Krishna. Yes. Like we saw example of Prabhupada, he was not uh, disturbed by any thing that happened. Also, everything that he thought, everything that happened was happening by Lord's will, by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's will. Like he was saying, even though he made all efforts to invite Indira Gandhi, she did not come for the corner laying stone, right? And then he says that's okay. That's the mercy. That's the desire of Mahaprabhu, because he wants a pure Vaishnava to lay the cornerstone of this such a wonderful um, temple that's going to come up here. So down the road, like we see in future ISKCON temples, we have had some like Guru Maharaj, when he constructed the Delhi temple. It was installed on Ram Navami Day, the wonderful Shri Radha Parthasarthi temple, and it was inaugurated by that time current Prime Minister of India, Atal Bihari Vajpayee. So again, it shows, like only those who are blessed by the Lord can come and take part in such ceremonies. So given again, Vajpayee was a very ardent devotee of the Lord. Similarly, Narendra Modi, the current Prime Minister, he has been instrumental in inaugurating many ISKCON temples recently. He has gone to that Delhi temple many times for special ceremonies. And he was there in Bombay recently when they inaugurated the Khargar temple. So like that, only, and they are Vaishnavas at heart. They are like the Raj Rishis, and at least they're trying to propagate Sanatan Dharma sincerely and bringing souls, connecting them back to our Vedic civilization. So yeah, so again, we see by this practical example that only those who are sincerely following our Sanatan Dharma, the Lord blesses them to be part of such occasions. But not everybody is so fortunate. Hare Krishna. Okay. Anything else from anybody? Deepa Mataji would like to say something? She's away. All right. So I think 6:37. So we'll pause here. Hope everybody has a wonderful Saturday program at ISKCON Cincinnati, welcoming all the wonderful deities and taking their blessings. All right, we'll end with Vaishnava Pranam prayers. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnavindi ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Prabhupada Leelamrit ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. Thank you, everybody. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Hare Krishna
Hare
everyone.
Krishna,
Pranam.
Prabhuji.